Let's turn our attention over to HEX. So we did see this massive dump all by those one or two wallets controlled by one person. Right before we came on stream today, HEX price plummeted anywhere between like 20-25%. Pretty much got right down to 2 cents flat when it was at about 2.6 cents earlier today. So it was a huge, huge fall. It was funny because I had a note here and I wanted to talk with you, Ewok, about whether we thought the HEX bottom was now in, since we've seen a rally out of that sub 2 cent area that we saw over the holidays. And we've now been in the, mid 2 cent range, basically. It still is down, especially now, about 95% from all-time highs, which is still more down than a lot of, what people would call like stalwart altcoins right now, ones that you've heard of anyway. So I want to ask you, now this event today, right before we went on air, is really intriguing to this question. It may have for a little bit, you never know with the liquidity and stuff on Uniswap. I didn't see HEX below 2 cents here. It very well could have dipped below. But we're at about 2.2 cents back up above right now. It looks like it snapped back up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So what's your thinking here? Because I think the reason I pose this question is because I've been starting to think that the bottom is in for HEX at that about 1.7 cent range. And if we see this big of a seller right now, all coming from one person, and we just saw how far that tanked the price, and now it's snapping back up. There seems to be, whether true or not, some bullish sentiment around V3 or V1 or whatever you want to call it, testnet of Pulse Chain coming out soon. I tend to think the bottom is in for HEX, but what are your thoughts on it, as well as this capitulation scenario with that wallet we're talking about here?
I agree. Unless there's a major dip where it brings the price of everything down, which is possible, I still don't see it going much below where we already were. I think we were at 1.68 or something like that was the lowest. Right about here, it looks like 169-ish. And yeah, that 80 million HEX that sold from that one D01 wallet got eaten up rather quickly, all within a very, very short period of time. So I think the bottom is in again, unless there's going to be another, huge event that brings the other things down with it, especially with as quickly as that got bought up. I think also that people are, it's kind of your responsibility, though, to get in position and be ready for when Pulse Chain launches. No one knows when it's going to happen, right? But we do know that you're going to get a duplicate, a copy on that chain. So I think people are starting to understand the ones that are being patient and aren't, don't have their panties in a bunch because we're not getting a release. I think they're starting to prepare themselves, get their coins ready, and do the right things and be patient and take advantage of these prices. Why this person got out, who knows? We don't know their financial situation. We don't know if they got tired of waiting. We don't know what it is, but anyway, they're gone. And it's better to get rid of them now and have that price eaten up than when it's 50, 75 cents. And they just, 80 million of those is 40 million, $50 million in cash. So that's a hard number to replace by a bunch of small ones. When it's this small, though, when the price is this low, it's much easier to buy that dip up pretty quickly. So it doesn't take a whole lot of economic energy to eat that wick up. So yes, I think we have seen a bottom or close to it. We could dip back down right around there. I really see 1.5 cents as our pretty much absolute target bottom.
Yeah.
And we got pretty damn close on that last dip to 1.69 cents. So, it's not far from there. If we do hit it again, I really think that people will be backing their trucks up. So that's just my thoughts. So. I think people are getting ready, and being the patient ones are preparing the way they should be.
I think you're exactly right. Yeah. 1.5 cents was already like a pretty big sticking point of support that people were talking about. 1.69, I mean, virtually might as well give yourself credit for having already hit it once. And I would think that if, like you said, I mean, when we did hit it, it was probably during a very low volume time also.
Mhm.
Because it was right around Christmas, because I remember buying tons of it at that time. So, yeah, if we would hit it again in the next couple of weeks or maybe early February or something like that, I just can't imagine it lasting very long at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
December 29th was that day anyway on
yeah,
this chart.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm totally with you there. I don't think you can really go lower than that. And again, I think a couple of catalysts up from that was it's funny because I want to say the Hex conference was a catalyst up from there. There was mad pump of Hex going into that. That frankly we're still kind of breathing the fumes off of because I think we'd be below 2 cents again probably if that hype wasn't there then. I mean, it was up like 30% over a couple of days
Yeah.
with people, not only thinking like, hey, it's just positive that there is this kind of organic conference around a DeFi protocol like this, but also thinking, of course, that Richard Hart was going to announce V3 or maybe like something even more juicy when it comes to Pulse Chain. Neither of those really happened. I mean, there was, I guess you could say a little bit of an update on V3, and then there was more of a concrete update on it on Twitter in the days following.
Yeah.
So we
And
saw,
that was bullish. That was bullish in itself, right?
yeah,
Just seeing Richard live stream, people need that. Unfortunately, they need that little bit of comfort and pat on the back. And yep, he's still alive. It's okay. They're still working on it. And unfortunately, that's sometimes what it takes too. Is just him making an appearance.
Well, that's going to lead us into an interesting conversation here because it sounds like what you're saying is providing some kind of expectations, which some people believe in and some people don't at all. And they seem to be fighting with each other a lot right now.
Hmm.
Now, Richard doesn't necessarily give specific expectations. And luckily, he really hasn't been giving any kind of timelines with Pulse or anything like he did Hex years ago because he, I think, learned his lesson from it and realized that, you tell somebody something that it's not going to be good. It's traditionally going to be worse than not saying anything at all, I think, in terms of a time frame.
Yeah,
Um,
but Hex was 4 more weeks for
yeah.
6 months, so
Hmm.
there weren't really many of those updates then either.
Hmm.
It was literally 4 more weeks, 4 more weeks, and that became the joke of 4 more weeks, and that's why you hear people say it all the
Right.
time. And I think people may take it literally when they're actually just joking about what happened with Hex and how we got the 4 more weeks update all the time.
Right. Yeah, the meme. Yeah, and yeah, I guess what I mean is like with Richard, it's just kind of like you just said, just like he's alive, he's out there, like people just seeing that things are being done or just some kind of inkling
Mhm.
of what's happening. Not that they need some people do because they're crybabies, but not that they need like a specific
Yeah.
time frame or exactly what's happening or anything like that. But they just want to have some kind of idea of the developments going on.